Hello, my name is Rhonda Morton, and today I will be sharing about Abraham Maslow, who was probably one of the most influential educational thinkers, and psychologists of the 20th century. You've probably heard of his hierarchy of needs, which is that little triangle right there. Um, but what I want to show you today is how his life shaped this theory, and more importantly, how his ideas continue to impact education today. I'm not going to go much into his life, his personal life, but I just want to touch on it just a little bit. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, in 1908 to Russian Jewish immigrant parents. As a child, he often felt isolated and faced a lot of prejudice, which that led him to spend a lot of his time reading and reflecting on the human behavior. These early struggles is what made him curious about what people need to thrive. He went on to study psychology at the University of Wisconsin and then later at Columbia University. He was influenced by mentors like Harry Harlow, who studied love and attachment, and then Alfred Adler, who emphasized social belonging. These influences helped Maslow develop his lifelong interest in human motivation and potential. There are a lot of educational ideas that I could go over, but I'm going to go over 3 with you today, and those are the hierarchy of needs, humanistic education, and self-actualization in education. So the hierarchy of needs. His most famous idea is the hierarchy of needs, which he first introduced in 1943. He suggested that humans have layers of needs, often represented by a pyramid, or as a pyramid. At the bottom are basic needs like food, water, safety, and then once those are met, people will seek love and belonging, and then esteem. And at the very top will be self-actualization, which is when you reach your fullest potential. In education, this theory tells us that students cannot fully learn or thrive until their basic needs are met. So, for example, a hungry or insecure child may struggle to focus in the classroom. Teachers, therefore, must pay attention to more than just the academics. They must consider the whole child. Number 2, humanistic education. Maslow also believed in what's called a humanistic education. He argued that classrooms should nurture creativity, self-expression, and personal growth. Rather than seeing students as empty vessels to be filled with information, he believed teachers should be facilitators, so guiding and encouraging students to explore and find meaning in learning. Lastly, self-actualization in learning. Maslow emphasized that the ultimate goal of education is to help students reach that top level, which is self-actualization. This means encouraging problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking rather than just memorizing facts. When students discover their passions and strengths, they move closer to becoming their best selves. And as far as educational impact, again, there are so many that I could talk about. But again, I chose 3 that I'm going to talk to you about, which is student-centered learning, guidance and counseling programs, and modern educational reforms. So Maslow has, transformed education in several ways, and these are the 3 that I thought was most important. So a student-centered learning. His theories shifted classrooms from being teacher-focused to being more student-focused. This means that educators now pay closer attention or more attention to the individual student needs and their motivation and their emotional well-being. So not just on the academics, but on the whole child. Guidance and counseling programs is the second one. So schools began recognizing the importance of supporting social and emotional needs. Guidance counselors, social emotional learning programs, and even wellness initiatives can trace some of their roots back to Maslow's influences. Lastly, modern educational reforms. Ideas such as whole child education, where schools aim to support students' mental health, safety, relationships, and personal growth alongside academics, are directly connected to Maslow's legacy. Now, of course, nobody can come up with anything without somebody not agreeing, which is okay. So on a professional level of critiques, some researchers argue that his hierarchy is too rigid, but in reality, people don't always meet one level of needs before moving to another. So for example, some people pursue creativity or self-actualization in the face of hunger or poverty. Personally, I think the hierarchy is still a useful framework, but it does oversimplify the complexity of human life. We are very complex beings. It's just the way it is. However, its emphasis on treating students with dignity and recognizing their basic needs is timeless. And it's still valuable for educators today. Wrapping this up, Abraham Maslow's life experiences and his research helped shape a vision of education that goes beyond test scores and textbooks. He reminds us that every student is a whole person with physical, emotional, social needs that must be respected before true learning can happen. And as teachers, as educators, his challenge to us is very clear. We must create classrooms where students not only gain that knowledge, but they also grow to their fullest potential, which is very important. So thank you for coming along and watching this video, and I hope you learned something today. And I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.